Go thy way, eat thy bread with joy, and drink thy wine with a merry heart, for God hath already accepted thy works. Now listen to this. This is so beautiful, but you're never going to hear this in the media. Enjoy life with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity, which he hath given thee under the sun. Enjoy life with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity, which he hath given thee under the sun, all the days of thy vanity. For that is thy portion in life. Now, when have you heard to enjoy life with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life? You've never heard it. Maybe in a church you heard it. But the money sources, the money power, the media, for example, treats women like garbage, like they're exchangeable toys. You're tired of her, throw her out and get a younger one. You're tired of her, get rid of her, go run around. You're tired of her, become gay. You're tired of her, go to Thailand and have a sex tour. Why don't you read this? Enjoy life with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity. Why don't you see that anywhere? The answer is because the verminous pornographers who own the liberals, who fund the ACLU, have taken down even the Ten Commandments from the judges who are religious in this country. I mean, we've had and we still have judges who believe in God and believe in the law. But those who put up the Ten Commandments are mocked and attacked by the verminous scum from NYU, from Columbia, from Harvard, from Stanford, from all the lowest law schools in the land produce the sickest minds. Oh, they think they're brilliant because they manipulated their way into a law school and they can write a brief and this and that. They're on the law review. But when you analyze what they're doing to society, they're actually the stupidest people in the country when they debase their own nation. And what do they do with their genius? What do they do with their genius? They go after judges in the South who have a little Ten Commandments somewhere in the courtroom to keep things straight. I guarantee you Judge Kaczynski wouldn't have a Ten Commandments in his courtroom. No, he'd probably have, well, we'll let it go at that. This is a family show. But if you want to see this, go to Ecclesiastes 9. Enjoy life with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity, which he hath given thee under the sun, all the days of thy vanity, for that is thy portion in life. And in thy labor, wherein thou laborest under the sun. So there's glorification of work here as well. Love, loyalty, work. For whatever thou hand attaineth to do by thy strength, that do. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. In other words, don't complain that you're working too hard. Because when you're dead, you won't be able to complain anymore. Listen to this one. For to him that is joined to all the living there is hope. For a living dog is better than a dead lion. For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything. For the dead know not anything. It's amazing stuff. There's such poetry here. And then you turn to Shakespeare. To be or not to be? That's the question. Is it nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them? To die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, to sleep, perchance to dream, that's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil. It gives us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time? The oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietest make with a bare needle. Who would bear this, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience doth make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied over with the pale cast of thought, and enterprise of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Lose the name of action. Forgive me for not speaking the King's English. I speak the English of the ordinary man. I do not change my brogue to satisfy the times, nor do I change my emotions to satisfy the climes. Devoutly to be wished. And what was he complaining about? What was Hamlet complaining about through Shakespeare? What was Shakespeare complaining about, through Hamlet? And how does it relate to the judge? Well, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, if you're heartbroken, the law's delay. I've been sitting here waiting for 3 months to a judge in the same district court, by the way, to drop this one on me. The insolence of office, there you go, your senators, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes. But we don't kill ourselves, do we? Well, it's not because we're afraid of what might be in the next world. That's certainly not what keeps people from killing themselves. I mean, to an atheist, this might be the reason for fear of what might await them in the next world. It's because we are not allowed to kill ourselves if we're religious Christians or Jews. Period. End of story. It's out of the. Actually, a Muslim as well is not permitted to kill himself. And I found out from a biblical scholar why. Because we do not own our property, which is us. God owns us. Does that answer your question? Just listen to this and weep. Savage. Listen to this headline. Are we prepared for many more people living to 100 and beyond? For parent-child dynamics, sibling rivalries, and other relationships that go on and on and on? Question mark. What are they implying? That we should kill off the old because they're of no use to the sexually liberated? Are they insane? What kind of headline is that? Are we ready for it? What do you want to do, turn them into fertilizer? Then they show an old dude, they're 100 years old, still practicing law in Boston. You know, I actually made a note. This is very inspiring because it means I could be in talk radio for another 50 years. He's still with his son, practicing law. Here they are. He had a heart attack 40 years ago, and he's still practicing law at 100. I like that because when my father got a heart attack, I remember I was so freaked out, and I went to the hospital, and it was like, no one knew much about heart attacks then. And the doctor, we were hanging there. He was our only breadwinner. We had no medical insurance, nothing. And he said to us, a heart attack is like a blowout in a tire. We can patch it up, son, and put it back on the family car, but we don't know when that tire may blow out again. That was very reassuring. You know, I was an insomniac from that moment on for the rest of my life. I love that story that he's 100, and he's still practicing law. He started practicing law in 1923, I hear, according to this article here. When Ruby started practicing law in 1926, his clients were young men, many of them Jewish immigrants, working what was then Boston's thriving garment business. Today, the firm has shrunk to a bare-bones staff of 2, Ruby and Bill, that's his son, who work out of an office otherwise known as Ruby's living room. He's 100 years old. Bill is 73, that's the son. I love this guy. He enjoys pinstripe suits, devotes a few hours each day to trusts and estates, keeping his family business alive. It added years to my life reading this story for 3 reasons. A, people are working longer because your brain doesn't go unless you want it to go. If you hate your children enough, you'll get Alzheimer's at 50. Or if you hate your wife enough, you get Alzheimer's at about 43. Oh, what? Honey, I'm putting on your brassiere and slippers now. Anything to avoid sleeping with you. Where am I, huh? Who's that horrible child? I don't want to know. I'm going to put... You get Alzheimer's at 46 if you had the wrong wife. But if you're blessed, you could keep working until you die. If your mind doesn't go, really. The mind is the last thing to go. Unbelievable. Still walks to work, walks home from work. So there's 2 things I like. Ruby did miss several months of work about 4 decades ago when he suffered a heart attack. 40 years ago? He's still working at 100? So that means if I get a heart attack soon, I could still live like another 40 years. Because I said my father, God rest his soul, when he got the heart attack, that doctor should rot in hell. The blowout story. Yes, we have put a patch on an inner tube, young savage. However, we do not know how long that patch may hold. Never slept another night in my life. Not another night did I sleep all through the night. All night long I listened to my own heartbeat. Thump, thump, waiting for the blowout. That rat, that doctor, they didn't know from anything. Nothing, morons. Smoke a Chesterfield, your doctor does. I don't know if they know any more today. They still don't give you any good advice. You think they tell you about homocysteine and B6 and niacin? Nothing. They still tell you nothing. They still tell you nothing. Just burn, cut, and poison, that's all. That vitamin stuff is all hogwash, believe me. Just follow us and we'll cut you open when you need it. The medical establishment is still backwards. They're still a bunch of bloodthirsty, greedy fools mostly. Not all, about 98%. You got to make a buck. Look, when you turn a profession like that, think about it, into a business where the more sick the person is, the more money you make. You think you're going to make someone well unless you're a saint? And how many saints are there in any business? Can you imagine if I do this for another 50 years or so? Can you imagine what that'll be like? You're liable to be a grandfather. You could be 15 now. You could be a grandfather, and I'll still be on the radio.